Alright, so this is the original drawing back in 2019 from New Zealand. So these were really quick sketches during meditation for about 10 minutes or so, and then coming up with the idea of sketching it out in the dark, and then the next day kind of spending about exactly 25 to 30 minutes drawing it, kind of what I remembered, and then adding to some ideas. This is done with some markers and also mylar and this just regular paper underneath. And so layering this all together so I could remember what these ideas were. So basically what this is a real quick study for what the textures, ideas and textures for this form. But I'm trying to show some original ideas of where this idea kind of came from. And some sketches and really raw sketches too, just kind of sketching out some ideas of what can happen with this. And you can see in the original drawing these ideas of particles, not really knowing what they are or what they're going to do, but really want kind of a clustering of particles, maybe chasing these clovers, but some sort of particle system, or maybe some sort of attraction that these things are heading towards this. Again, no idea how this is to be done in Unreal, but really wanting some sort of flocking and some sort of traction to this. And again, these tabs are going to be rigged, and so they will be not static, but kind of moving as the participant gets closer. These will become rigid because these are going to be 3D printed and overall static. So going over here, again, this is kind of some more clever ideas on the particle systems. Thinking about pulsing, glowing, using emissive kind of a shading system for this. And I've seen some really cool particle systems of how this could kind of come off that surface. Some other ideas for what the particle system could look like. This is another idea that this kind of tag surfaces coming off the top. Obviously we have physical tags on the bottom, but these are tags that could be floating along this ridge or maybe in this area. So these are ideas that I'm kind of thinking about, ideas of what that could look like. Again, really not fleshed out, but I'm really interested in this shape and probably echoing this, or even possibly utilizing some sort of shape or something like this where these things are kind of floating above the surface here of the form. Again, I'm hopping back and forth here. This has been modeled in Maya. I have actually 3D printed this out in a resin printer. Obviously I want to get this to about 28, 29 inches or maybe 30 inches long, and this will probably be about 1.5 feet wide. And so this will be probably printed out probably hopefully about 2 or 3 or 4 parts maybe. And the idea is some of this will be hollow in here, so we could actually chamber and smell within this, maybe creating pores in here. So all kinds of weird ideas on that. This is the overall color and texture scheme below, and I'm not doing a good job of zooming in and out here. I need to do a better job here. But these are some of the ideas that I am thinking about. Very organic overtones. I kind of like this kind of transparent, kind of a white opaque transparency, kind of this muddled, able to see stuff underneath it, see through it. Obviously I love shoe design, this form layered on top of here, and then textures underneath, multiple layers, and I'm kind of drawn to this color scheme here. This is probably all these different colors that you see here are probably the final kind of color scheme. So I need to kind of simplify it to like maybe 6 different colors that we're going to focus on. So I really love this kind of the green, the orange, the frosting, and the detail here. I really love this. I think this is kind of the direction we're heading. But again, other images showcasing that. So anyways, I just kind of grabbed these. This part of the shoe I really love this kind of layering and these details, and also covering that detail too is really exciting. And just overall, just kind of cool design, textures. This project, we won't probably get into different texture feels on the form. We're going to try our best to do maybe one or two, but overall, we're not going to be able to achieve this on this project maybe next year. So just going to zoom in here. These are the skin, I call them skin tags. I don't know what they're going to be officially called, but this is the breakdown. These are the outer texture surfaces. Done a poor job of UV mapping these so far, but you can see the breakdown of the inner side, also the clovers, and then also the upper rings that kind of support that. These will all have different textures. So these are different ideas that I kind of broke down in a drawing. So the kind of the skin underneath, and then the clovers. I'm really interested in the clover here, some sort of maybe kind of a beveled outer surface here, and then that inner would be transparent, so you can kind of see through this skin. And I'm kind of marveled by this, like what these clovers could look like, kind of this transparency in pink, and then this green transparency. So again, really quick ideas. I have no idea what it's going to really look like. This is an idea what the interior of the tag, skin tag, would look like. Some other ideas of what that could look like, more biomorphic looking. I really love this also. So lots of ideas. Really not sure how to pull it off. It's just going to be a lot of success and disasters and substance painter. So here's some more ideas. This is for the, I think I have this backwards, but this is the, yeah, I need to shift this around. This is the outer ring here. These are some of the ideas. You can see the sketches here, and also some more ideas of what those particle systems could do. Really need to think that through, and then maybe work with someone that actually has some expertise in particles in this system. So these are some ideas of what that edge could look like, either in ZBrush or just kind of going ahead and doing that in Substance. So I tried to kind of push this around in Photoshop and then project it on there. I think it's just going to have to be hand done, or maybe some other ideas in Substance Painter that I don't know how to go forward on. This is kind of the idea for the upper surface of this form here. Kind of loosely UV mapped right now. Has some sketches of what that could look like on there. I'm really drawn to this. This could be like a half of it, duplicate it, maybe do something in Illustrator, kind of give a stronger impression, or maybe just go right into ZBrush or even Substance. But the idea that this could be alpha, and you can kind of see through the form. Some other images, and this one I'm thinking about for the bottom of this. I need to probably add that to the collection of what this could be, and probably need to add the bottom and then indicate that in this scheme. So I'm really drawn to this fashion designer, kind of these shapes. This fashion designer does a lot of 3D printing, laser cutting, and then sewing these onto the fabric. But really thinking that this could be kind of the look. I love the transparency and how you can see through, and also there's a gradient of color throughout this form. So that, again, that's the idea of what this could look like here. Overall concept design for that texture. Again, this will be touchable. So when you touch it, some sort of particle, or maybe some sort of color shift, or maybe a ripple effect happening in here. So this will be one of the things that they touch. Obviously the tags, and then maybe the surface area here will be touchable. This is the outer ring here. You can see this has been UV'd a little bit. I'm not sure if it's correct, but this is the idea of creating that. Kind of sketched it out, really interested in maybe having these as emissive, and when you touch that outer ring, maybe these pulsate with emissive lighting. Really want to push the interactivity. Also, I really, last time people didn't get to touch the form to get really close. I really want them to get super close to this and not be shy and be able to touch and see some really hyper details of the surface. Again, they're going to be touching a very smooth plastic surface, so there's going to be a little bit of disconnect for this round. Hopefully resin printers will be able to do this and maybe even paint some surfaces that will differentiate in the future. So kind of also drawn with this layering with this outer rim, that could be interesting also. So these are two just drawings of what this upper top middle section, these are kind of pens and grommets. These will be printed out on a resin printer, high resolution. Again, I really want the participant in the VIVE VR to be able to get up close and touch this and actually feel these little really hyper details and also really see some amazing textures visually. So really drawn to, well, these aren't really being shown off that great, but this kind of scuffing, kind of interesting marks, patterns. Maybe this will show up a little bit better. Oh, these are really showing up bad. Kind of this little bit of texture, and also just the way the light is bouncing off of here. So I really want to play with multiple dimensions of textures and feel and light passes on how this is all going to kind of break through. I don't know if like subsurface scatter on certain layers or how that is, it could even be achieved in Unreal. Okay, so kind of all these textures and ideas can bounce off of each other. They can be borrowed and used for all these rails and pens and grommets, but kind of try to pair them up where really the aging, decaying barnacles on the surface here. Again, I want really people to get their face really close to this and see some really hyper details. I also brought in some interesting textures maybe for the shaft of the pen, or just ideas of other ways of marking up surfaces. And again, these drawings are kind of across the board here, not just the pen. So these are different ideas. So here are the grommets. I'm not sure what I'm going to call these, nuts, grommets, whatever. Really drawn to this guy, how this is kind of marred and surfaced, etching. I think that's why I brought the drawings in here, because I'm really interested in using kind of these interesting nodes or impressions and stuff like that. It's really easy to do in Substance, kind of using alpha and press that in. But I really like kind of how this is scuffed, and then how the light is really hitting and refracting off of these surfaces. Same with this guy. So anyways, I don't want any copying of this. It's just kind of the idea of how light is hitting these surfaces, what we can do to kind of break up the tension with little micro details. Again, all these have nothing to do with the design. This is all made up, but ideas of how to break up that surface with these non-detailed details. I think that's about all I have here. I was hoping to probably maybe rearrange some of this stuff, and what else was I going to show? I think that's it. I think these just have to be reshuffled, and I'll upload this up onto the Google Drive so people can see it. But so far it's pretty exciting. It's just going to be able to 3D print this out, be able to use the bare paint and make sure this is interactive, and making sure all these signals are being sent through the VIVE Tracker in real time. And the big exciting thing is trying to get these particle systems to work. So definitely a team of people to work that out. All right, well, I'm going to stop it here. Hopefully that makes sense. And also I want to give you an update on the garden or the greenhouse and what's growing there.